All right. Adrien Broner is on the hook for $1.5 million after bouncing checks at a jeweler, and he might be stiffing his boy and leaving him with the bill. You gotta love Adrien Broner, man. The dude is drama 24/7. Let's talk about Adrien Broner's latest drama in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Adrien Broner is going to be famous forever, and he's going to be working forever because this guy cannot get out of his own way. And I don't even hold it against him anymore, man. At this point, it's just like, all right, it's Tuesday. What is Adrien Broner going to get arrested for today? And this time, it's something we knew about before, but the whole thing is hilarious, man. Coming up off of him saying to a judge that he only has $13 to his name, right? So, but now in New York, Adrien Broner is going to have to go, or is in front of another judge saying, look, man, you can't be running around bouncing checks for jewelry. You're going to have to pay up, right? Let's go through the specifics of it, right? So it was just yesterday in federal court. They issued a judgment, a certified judgment in favor of Pristine Jewelers of New York City against Broner and his company about billions for a total sum of $1,464,450.63, which I guarantee is too much money for Adrien Broner to pay right now. But this lawsuit came about in 2018 when Pristine Jewelers had sold some jewelry on credit to Broner, but Broner refused to pay. And then About Billions, the company, sent 4 different checks to Pristine Jeweler. They were all returned for insufficient funds. And then in June of 2019, Broner and About Billions then entered into a settlement. Sound familiar? Because they did the same thing with the girl who he grabbed her behind or whatever. Enters into a settlement and says, look, we agree to pay you $1,252,000. And after Adrien wrote one check, or this guy who might get stuck with the bill, Ravon Littlejohn, wrote a check for $252,000, and then after that, didn't make any more payments, right? So I guess the court is still figuring out whether or not they're going to hold Littlejohn responsible for bouncing the checks himself, or whether they're going to hold Adrien Broner to it. So I really can't make out of this whether or not Adrien Broner himself might get out of this because he had somebody else bounce the checks for him. But let me just go through what he says. He said, Littlejohn's defense, the case continues against Broner's manager, business associate, Ravon Littlejohn, who signed the 4 bad checks originally. Littlejohn's defense is that the jeweler knew all along that Littlejohn was signing the check and issuing the checks on behalf of Broner and About Billions, and that Broner was the reason that there was insufficient funds and not Ravon Littlejohn. So that teaches you guys something. If you are going to hang out with Adrien Broner, make him write his own checks. Because About Billions is a company, right? Adrien Broner, who knows how much or who else owns pieces of About Billions, right? So Adrien Broner buys some jewelry for himself through the company About Billions, not for himself personally, but About Billions. And I don't know what type of company About Billions is, whether it's a LLC, whether it's an S, what it is, and what Adrien Broner's liability is specifically to this. But if they're holding the guy who wrote the check responsible, then that guy may very well be a part owner in About Billions. And if you're a part owner or a partner in a limited liability corporation, and that limited liability corporation gets sued, dude, just like when Canelo Alvarez sued DAZN, And the court said, no, hold on, we got to throw this out because you have to name the people that you are suing in here because it's not a corporation. It's an S corp, or what was it? No, I'm sorry, an LLC. So when you have an LLC, you have members of the board, and the members of the board or members are members of the LLC, and they may be able to be held responsible for for judgments against the company. So this guy, Ravon Littlejohn, I'm not sure who he is, could very well be a friend of Adrien's and one of Adrien's rich friends, Our Adrien said that he only had $13 to his name and he was flying back and forth to different cities for boxing matches and wearing Gucci sweaters. Not Gucci, what is that? Coogee, wearing Coogee sweaters that probably cost $500. And the judge is like, come on, man, how you carrying big stacks of dough, but you ain't got any money, right? So stay off Instagram, stay off social media, put him in jail for a couple minutes later, and then Adrien Broner right back out there holding big stacks of money, talking about his rich friends. Well, if Ravon Littlejohn is one of his rich friends, his manager and business associate, dude, Ravon Littlejohn might very well be learning a lesson, dude. Adrien Broner just shady, dog. Just shady. Now, the interesting thing to me is that people are telling me that this check bouncing thing with jewelers is some type of scam, right? Where like the jeweler sells you fake jewelry for a big price. You get the fake jewelry. You bounce checks to them. I don't get the whole thing, man. But to me, maybe I'm just old school, but $1.5 million over a bunch of shiny rocks seems to me to be just a little bit silly. You know what I mean? Like Adrien Broner, like a lot of people are going to say Adrien Broner does all of this stuff because of the publicity. I don't believe that he does. I believe that Adrien Broner thinks he's smart. He tries to get cute. He's used to being in trouble with the law, and that's just the state of being that he's been in for over 10 years now, and he's just used to doing this, right? And I don't see it changing. I don't think it's for publicity. I just think that the guy just tries to get slick, man. You know what I mean? He gets out there. Well, I know with the girl, when he touched on the girl, he was just doing something stupid, but then he enters into an agreement with her, say, okay, let's agree. We'll pay this off in installments. And then he doesn't make the payments. And then he's back in court. This thing that he's doing with the girl is the same thing he's doing with these bounce checks for jewelry. Gervonta Davis, I think, has got something out there about him about bouncing some checks or stiffing some guy on some jewelry that they were selling him, man. Me personally, dude, one ring is enough. I'm thinking about getting a necklace, but I'm thinking about getting me one of them black $200 black Movado necklace with just like a little black sterling black Movado on the end where nobody can see it and people, but it's nice, right? And I want to get it. But that thing costs about $200. And I know that when I buy it, I can pay $200 and it's over with, right? I don't have to worry about any complex games, man. I wish these dudes with all this money would definitely try to go the Andre Ward route, because I promise you, Andre Ward ain't getting stiffed for a bunch of jewelry, man. And at the end of the day, man, they're just shiny rocks, Adrien. They're just shiny rocks. That's my take on the matter. You let me know what yours is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.